Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there.
I had an absolutely amazing time overall. I think it was really great getting to see the trenches in the main city, having previously seen so many pictures of it during the war. It really painted a good picture in our minds of what it was like back then, and just how terrible it really was. So we were dropped off in the town centre. It was amazing getting to see the different buildings, having already seen them in photos before they were destroyed in the war, in fact. So we made our way towards the first museum, which was a 3-minute walk, I suppose. And it was really nice just to have a leg stretch and have a small chat with your friends. We arrived at the first museum and we went into the foyer part and we got given these wristbands which allowed us to listen to a few audio tapes in the museum itself and also to enter and to exit. We had a small talk from the teachers and they gave us a worksheet which we had to fill out with a few friends and walk around the museum and really look at the different information of the park. So as you walk in, it's very modern in itself, and it has a lot of display units with the information next to it, which really was good because you can compare each part. So, of course, I worked with some friends, we went round and we looked at the different information. And there was also a good video there which explained about the different occupations during the war. For example, there was a nurse and explaining what her situation was like and what she had to do during it. I think it was a very good experience and I certainly walked away from there with a bit more knowledge about the war itself. So by the time we'd finished looking around the first museum, we were all starting to get a bit hungry. So we got back on the bus and made our way to the second museum, where there was in fact a restaurant. Luckily for us it was a really nice day, so we all got to sit outside and we ate our lunch. So after we'd finished enjoying our lunch, we went through a back bit which led to the actual museum itself, which was outside.
To Belgium and to Flanders, to Germany to here, I fought for king and country I loved dear. 'Twas Christmas in the trenches where the frost so bitter hung. The frozen fields of France were still, no Christmas song was sung. Our families back in England were toasting us that day. They're brave and glorious lads so far away.
The trenches were actually very muddy. It really helped us imagine how muddy they would have been in the war. It was literally up to our ankles.
Across the lines of battle came a most peculiar sound. Says I, now listen up me boys, each soldier strained to hear, as one young German voice sang out so clear. He's singing bloody well, you know, my partner says to me.
We also visited the Golden Arches. I was in absolute shock to how many names there were there. There were thousands and thousands all up every wall, everywhere you looked. From A to Z, literally. It really did put a lump in your throat, and it just shows how many people there were in the war, because this is such a small proportion of the names. We had the chance to visit the graveyard. John Green. Tom Atkins,
The next they sang was Steely Nacht,
Stephen Gillard,
and in two tongues one song filled up that sky.
Harry Baywood,
There's someone coming towards us, the frontline sentry cried. All
William
sights were
W.
fixed on one
Harrod,
lone figure trudging from their side. His truce flag like
James
a Christmas
Seymour.
star shone on that plains
All these people,
as he bravely
individuals,
strode unarmed into
all died in the war, and there were thousands more.
one by one on either side, walked into no man's land.
It was absolutely heartbreaking. There were so many, and this is just a small proportion of them throughout Europe.
Shared some secret
I was just
plan,
absolutely gutted.
wished each other well. And in a flare-lit soccer game we gave him hell. We traded chocolates, cigarettes, and photographs from home. These sons and fathers far away from families of their own. Young Sanders played his squeeze box and they had a violin. This curious and unlikely band.
Absolutely amazing, and I learnt a lot. It just makes you appreciate what the world is like nowadays. I can hardly imagine the grief that the families must have felt, and the soldiers. I mean, the conditions they had to work in was just awful. I had a great time overall.
With sad farewells we each began to settle back to war. But the question haunted every heart that lived that wondrous night: whose family have I fixed within my sights?